Status, we have fixing that OpenID authentication service gets authenticated user should check the user's name. And OpenID account controller fixing that null user shouldn't trigger login events in logout callback. Okay, so apparently they're using OpenID a lot. That's it. There is one PR I need to review before being able to ship. This was fixing the cache bug that is blocking 1.10.3, and that should be ready. Beldek pinged me, so I will look at it. What else? I think that's it for this branch. What do we have? Object call. Does anyone have demos that they want to do? Himanshu, is there anything you did that needs to be demoed? Oh, we have lots of potential demos. Matthias, I assume you want to show something? To show the new media layout?
No.
Oh, no, you don't want. Okay, you don't want. So no.
Sorry.
But Matthias worked, we'll see in the PRs. Mathis, do you want to show something? I know you've done some new things. But no. Okay, so I will do the demos. So what happened this week? So this is checkboxes, which has been merged. Is Jasmine here? No. Maybe if it has been merged, maybe we'll see it in the admin. Let's see. What do we have? 7 days ago, 7 days ago, 7 days ago. What branch is that? APIs. Yes, so last week we talked about GraphQL that will be refactored in another PR, and that requires some APIs, which I did, and I showed it. It failed. I know why it failed now, because now it works again, but it was my OpenID parameters which were wrong. Then we have Matthias, who worked on two things. He worked on the admin tree, and it should be finalized now. I don't remember what we said on Thursday. Maybe just, yeah, buttons for disabling instead of checkboxes. And he also worked on a new media layout that I'm not sure has been merged. This is custom settings deployment, so Himanshu implementing all the custom deployments we can have. And this one for custom settings. Jean-Thierry is still working in his branches, distributed, for instance, adding tenant APIs, that I showed last week. This is Nick on the dev branch. Yeah, this is fixing a test. What is this branch? What is this branch? This is a GraphQL queries branch, so I will just focus on this one. Dev, third one. Where are we? 6 days ago. Fix custom settings deployment step editor from Himanshu. This is the netcore preview 2.2 branch, which now works. So this is the netcore ASP.NET Core preview 2.2. Just please test this branch to see if there is anything blocking us. This is a GraphQL branch. This is GraphQL branch. Fix content definition deployment from Simon this time. Content definition deployment, then GraphQL, then use a single document database for all admin trees. This is on the admin trees branch. Addressing on media module, what is that? Yeah, that's perf optimization to not use JSON result, but directly the object, which will be better for async operations, but this has been fixed in 2.2. Add differentiator to fields and parts, so we merge David's PR, which lets us define custom shapes in custom shapes for editors. So custom editors, well, you can theme the editors now. And what this commit was just reacting to some changes we merged already with the display mode. This is media layout from Matthias. This is James Restore doing some refactoring on GraphQL queries, but I think it's obsolete now. Oh, it has been merged. This is James trying to change how we name the image part in the blog recipe. I have to understand what's the issue here. Trust him, but I want to understand. This is Jean-Thierry trying to fix some concurrency issues. Still need to be merged. Lots of PRs and branches. You see everyone's working on something different. And there is one bottleneck that is currently talking on the microphone. And workflow duplicate. This is a new feature which has been merged to be able to duplicate a workflow from Siamand. Siamand is not here. Fixes Visual Studio Debugger, apparently VS. Oh, I don't. Yeah, Visual Studio Code. So apparently a debugger doesn't understand that. I don't know what's the issue here, but fixes VS Code. I'm fine with that. This one implementing the feature of copying workflows, not copying workflows. This is Jasmine trying. No, this is still the custom checkboxes, or is that? No, this is the fix for the icons on the left gutter when the screen is small that are not aligned. So this is one fix, and there is another PR from a new contributor that tries to fix it also. So Jasmine is handling the two of them. This is Jean-Thierry still working on distributed services and distributed orchard nodes. Good. I'll do a check with him. Okay. And this is GraphQL queries. Anything else I missed? Good. Then demos. So what's new here? So GraphQL for sure. I don't know if the checkboxes. I didn't merge dev, so I won't be able to show that. So next time when they are here, they will show their own stuff. Jasmine is not here. Okay, I might show some new sites that have been made in Orchard. Demo. So I will close that. So GraphQL demo, this step doesn't pass, we'll fix it later. GraphQL demo, play, debug is fine. I'll find the issues then. So GraphQL, lots of work. So Nick moved this PR last week and did some refactoring. Then James Restore is also working on that like a lot. I also worked on that like a lot. So there is a lot of progress on GraphQL. It's almost ready. It's super usable already. There are lots of features we can do. And it's a great set of features in the end. Now it looks like something that we should use everywhere. So when you enable the GraphQL module, you can go to this page, admin GraphQL. And this page is the GraphQL Explorer, which Jasmine fixed in the UI, so there is no more margins everywhere. It's beautifully integrated. Documentation Explorer on the right to see all the queries you can do, the query you can do here. And so when you start from scratch, you open the curly brace, control space, and control space provides you the IntelliSense. So this tool will connect to the GraphQL endpoints to load the schema and provide some IntelliSense based on the schema. So this is a blog post, a blog recipe. So we have the article, blog post, some fake content types. Foo, I don't know what it is. But I can query an article. So an article, and it says it's not valid because field article must have selection of subfield. Did you mean blah blah blah? Yes. So when you say the query article, so this is a custom query type which will filter all the content items of type article, and there is one query like this per content type. This is the most common usage in the CMS. And here, if I do control space, I get the IntelliSense and all the fields that are available on an article. The fields, meaning the properties of article content items, display text, created UTC, content type, and so on, and also the parts, auto-route part, and the fields like description. Okay, so if I say article and I say display text, and I do either play or control enter, then you get always the same kind of schema, which is data object with article, which is the name of the query, and then the list of results. Okay, and here display text about. So I have one article content item, its display text is about. Now let's say you want to get the path of this article. The path is in the auto route. In the auto route part, this is a complex object, so you have to open the curly brace, and if you don't know, well, it will tell you that it's not valid. Blah blah blah. The auto route part must have a subsection. Okay, because it's nothing in itself. Auto route part, and here control space. Well, it didn't even propose me some suggestions. It just pasted path because that's the only property in auto route path you can use. And if I do play, auto route part, path about. Okay, so that's the most obvious. Did I miss something in the chat? Really nice, and that's nothing compared to what you can do. So something you can do, for instance, is aliases, like let's see if we can do that. You can provide name and it will be called path. Okay, that will be useful for later, you will see. I will show you. I'm not sure I can actually map this property to a higher level. I don't know, maybe that will not surprise me, but at least you can do things like this. So we also have access to the fields. So if I go to the content definition, content types for testing, like the article has a field description, a link field, an image field, a content picker field, a text field. So you see all kind of fields here just to be able to try. And if I go to the query, let's say with description, so what do I have access to? I have access to, you see, description, which is a markdown field. So let's try with the subtitle, which is a text field. Okay, and you can see it's a string from a text field. So that's also super nice to know that. Control Enter. This is what I do. Okay, this is a value in the article of the text field. So I will remove the auto route part to be able to see what's happening. Okay, this is what I do. So already super nice. Then we have a link field. So link field is the link field in this case is called link. So if you see it's red squiggly. So it says it's a complex type. Why? Because a link field has two properties. So it has not been flatted, or yeah, I don't know how to say that. So if I say control space, I have access to the URL and to the text. So let's say the text and the URL. I want both, and you can see both of them have the same value. But that's okay. Okay, text field, link field in this case, and then we can go into more complex fields like the markdown part. The markdown part. Oh, there is the HTML body part for the article, which is interesting. You have access to the HTML. This could be flattened, and this is the content of the article. Okay, and if I do there is no markdown part, but there is a field called description, which is a markdown field. see markdown field here. So if I do description, same thing, it's a complex object. And in this case, I can do markdown. Okay, and I have access to the mark. This is a description foo. So I have access to the markdown. But here comes the interesting stuff. What would you do with the markdown? Well, nothing on the client side. What you want is the HTML from this markdown. So this field has been extended so that it also provides the HTML value of the markdown. So you can ask for the markdown, or you can ask just for the HTML, because you don't really care about the markdown. The markdown is useful for editing. So when you ask for HTML, only if you ask for it, the markdown will be transformed and provided to you. And you see here, it's a paragraph with a strong foo. Okay, that's super useful. Now we can also convert some data based on what they represent to stuff that can be actually used in the client. And this is typical from the markdown. This is one of the main issues we have when we expose APIs, because we can't expose just the raw data. We need to compute sometimes data. And we need ways to express when to compute it, because maybe we should not compute it all the time. That would be resource extensive. So this is the description, which is a markdown field. And then you can do the same thing with super complex fields like the media. So images here is a media field. Let me see. This is a media field. It's written. And this guy provides the URLs. Well, provides the path that have been entered in the media. And here I have 3 local paths, which, as they are stored in a database to represent the media in the assets. Okay, but if you want to render these elements, you need the actual URLs to point to this media. So instead of path, you will call URLs, and then you have access to the public image. So if I do that, you see, that's the actual media, not just the local path. So based on the tenant or whatever, what the public URL of this media is, it will return the public URL. And in your templates today, you will do pipe asset URL or call the razor helper extension to get the path to the URL. Here from the GraphQL endpoint, you can also get it directly. So this is for images. And the next one that has been done like this is, what is it called? A field we have a posts field, which is a content picker field, where I picked some blog post linked to that. So it's called posts. It's a content picker field, and when I expand it, I have access to the content item IDs, which is whatever it's storing. Okay, this is Simon who made the module, the field. I think. No, who made it? Sorry, it's not Simon. Who made the field? Is it Matthias? I don't know who made the field. No, this is maybe what's his name? James, from a colleague from David, I think. So there. So we have content item IDs, and instead of the IDs, which sometimes don't make sense, you want the content items themselves. And look at that, the content items that are represented by the IDs, because this is what you want. You could do it in another query later, but maybe you just want the content items. And the content items, well, you have to express what you want, like here. So maybe you just want to display text. And when you run it, you see that the related posts are the one with this display text, man must explore, which is a blog post. Okay. If you just want the content item IDs, just take the content item IDs. But here you get it directly. Not only that, but let's say you have many content items which are related. You just want the first one. You just do first one, and then it will give you the first one. So let's try that. If I go to content items, I just have one blog post, I think. I have 2 blog posts. I will publish this one. No, I want to create a new one because I want to have a draft one. This other post, okay. and I don't care about the content, publish. So I have another blog post. Now I have 3 blog posts and 2 are published. So in the about page, which is my article, I have currently selected 1 post in the content items. Now if I select another one, this other post, and I say publish, and I do the same query, I still have 1. But if I don't specify first, it failed, or because it's not valid. You see, I have 2 posts now. This other post and my other post. I have 2 posts. And then you can say skip one, or last, or first, and just extract whatever you want. And this also works with the media fields, which is also a collection of elements. So if I say images and I say URLs, I have all of them. But maybe I just want the first image. So you will say first one. Why doesn't it work? It's not implemented? Oh, it's on the URLs. So first one, and then you get it there. Because this is one field, and then URLs is the collection. Okay, so this is how it works. And you see, you can say one and first and page the things. So that's super useful also, because maybe, yes, you have a list of images for that, but in the context of your query, you just care about the first one. So you don't need to resolve everything. It's more important for content items because we might only want to load one item instead of all which are referenced, like the first one, the last one, or a page of items. So that's super useful here. And then, because it's a content item, look at that. This is even better. This is getting better. So here, so I will remove the images. I have 1 blog post, but I know it's a blog post. Okay, I linked to post, so the content item field doesn't know. We could guess it's a blog post, but it could be a mix of types. So there is no really intelligence we can provide there. But knowing it's a blog post, we want to access the markdown of the post. So if I do control space, it doesn't know, so it doesn't provide it. Unless I say, if it's a blog post, then give me the markdown part, and not, so the markdown part, but not the markdown, but the HTML of the markdown. Enter, and then you get the HTML of this other post, which was empty. So if I remove the skip, I get both posts and their markdown directly. Okay, so that's super powerful, because my post content item picker could be a list of different content types from different, yeah. So if it's a blog post, then do that. And you see, if it's a blog post, then we have IntelliSense for the blog post, which has a markdown part, or all the fields and parts for the blog post. Okay, and you can say also if it's on a blog post, or you could say in case it's also an article, then you want to render that thing. And what is nice is that maybe you want the content, like an article as, remember, the article as a description property, which is also a markdown, right? So maybe you want for all your content items to return their body. For the blog post, you will say return the HTML, but for the article, you will say description.html here. So markdown body part or description field. And in the end, they will all return the same property. And I assume we could, that should be possible to say like body and body. I need to see how you can reference actually a property inside, if it's doable. And this way we could have the same schema and show that we have a body, whatever the type we selected. So that will be good. You see body HTML and body HTML. Actually that works in this case because they're based on the same type. Or if you're like, look at that, we can say body content, and this way whatever the property it is, we are sure to have the same accessor to get the data, even if there are 2 different types. So that's super useful, and super fast also. I ran some performance tests and I could get more than 5,000 requests per second on my machine to do things like this. We'll see. in real usage, how it looks like.
Hey, Sebastian, question. Is there a way to look for, in this example, is there a way to look for properties that might have, or for content items that have a property of type HTML? Or a property named HTML?
Yes. What's the issue here? I don't understand. Because HTML is a property of Markdown body part.
Right. I don't want to specify Markdown body part. I just want to say, give me everything, give me anything that has an HTML property.
No.
Oh, okay.
And no, you have to set exactly what you're loading, and no, you can't say HTML because no, we can extend, even you in every module can extend the syntax to say this property is available on all content items, and you will provide the behavior of that. That's doable if this is what you mean, like render the content item using display. That's totally doable. You could say HTML will be resolved as the C# that you want, which will do a build display, render the HTML, and give you the HTML. You can do that, yes, if this is the question. Like rendered HTML. You could have something called rendered HTML, and that could even have a display type with the default detail, but you could say summary. You can do that, totally. It's totally extensible for that. From by default, and even from any other feature or modules, which can do that. So yeah, that's it. Then, so this was the first improvements we did last week. Then we also improved the way you can filter the content items here. So when I say article, I will go with blog post now. The first thing we added here on blog post, but we changed the syntax, so now it looks like this. You can say where, and where is a complex object where you can find a status, and you can have access to status, published, draft, latest, all. Published being the default. So if I say blog post published, crap, I broke it. Yeah, this is a branch I'm working on right now. Let me, yeah, well, I will restart it because I stopped the debugger. I will restart it because I'm currently working on this branch, which adds, I will show you what it adds, but this thing was working before I refactored it to support the more scenarios. I will show you. So if I go back to admin GraphQL, so this apparently is broken, okay? Error trying, yeah, because I'm trying to make it so, but assume it works. It was working before. I will just fix it after. So we have that. You can also say order by. So let's say I will remove that. That should work because I just broke the. So order by, which is a complex object. Order by, and you have access to all the properties of the content items. And we are about to work on adding the parts also on the fields. The parts first because we don't have any index for the fields, but it will work also. So if I say order by display text, order by display text, and then I need to say ASC or DSC, so I'll say ASC, ascending. I need to remove that. First, I have two posts which are published because this is the default status. Start with man, this, and if I say DSC, now this is this and then man. Okay, so we can order by the properties. What you want usually is that. Okay, the latest post first. Okay, that's, and I think that's the default. I'm not sure. I think that's the default. Let me remove that, and then I need to remove this. This looks like the default. Okay. Order by, and you can also page. So you can say first. Okay, you have the first one. You can say skip, and you can also say last. No, you can't say last. This is not possible in SQL. So you can say skip and first. You can also filter. You see this auto route part. This will be moved inside the where. This is some work to do. Maybe no, it doesn't work. I think it has been broken. But the idea is that you will be able to say that. It used to work. We have just to move it in the where clause now, path, and then the path you want. And what we are currently working on is extended where clause like this one. So when you do where, you can do status something, but look at that. Display text start with. So you can do display text, and let me bring that here, because I know this one works. This is what I just finished before I left. So if you just say display text, the default operator will be equals, okay, which makes sense in my opinion. Let me predefine it. Display text play. This one works, okay. So the display text equal works, and you have access to what? To display text greater than, lesser than, in a list of values, contains, ends with, starts with, not contains, and so on. And if we have content item ID, because you can say where content item equals, this one just have in, and that's it. No starts with. I assume that doesn't make sense to say a content item ID starts with something. At least the in one is fine to load multiple content item IDs, but this one should be sufficient. So if I take, this is not implemented yet. Well, yes, I implemented the equal, but I only check for the display text for now. This is what I was working on. So I'm working on just adding, you see, content item, or content item should work actually. Display text, and then the operators. Greater than works, and the default being equal. That's what I currently broke. That's why status doesn't work anymore. I didn't handle that yet. This is refactoring we are doing. So that's almost everything you can do, and that's already huge. So let's say now you want to see how it works in real life, because I failed the demo last week. So I will keep that. I still have the OpenID Connect working. So if I open Postman, and I go into the collection named GraphQL, I have a get post GraphQL content type here. I can go to authorization, and I can get a new access token, and this will be, is it? This is this thing, so I will need to configure that differently, I'm sure. Let me check. So this one is fine. Token validation, okay. Application, edit, and it needs, no, it's configured correctly, so that's fine. So if I do, no, this is that 4300 44300. I want to get a token, so it asks me to authenticate. I get the token, okay. This is called, I will delete this one and delete this one. Done. And you need to actually select it. I think that's the issue I had last week. Headers, now it's defined. GraphQL with my token. I don't see it in the headers here. Okay, it will add it automatically. Body, this can be removed. Display text, rated DC, published. Let's say send. Expected name, found blog post. Because of that. And you see that works. I have two blog posts with a display text, the creative DC as I requested. Okay, that's the idea. So now it's protected also using OpenID, otherwise you can't access the value. In this case, actually, it's accessing using the cookies, I'm sure. So if you have a cookie authentication, it will work. But now this is using the, I remove the cookie, so it can't use the cookie authentication. It's using the JOT token authentication, and it still works. Okay, and that's super nice. Something you can do also with GraphQL, and that we support, is if I go there, you can do, for instance, so display text, you can do parameters. So you can say, for instance, display text. Okay, to simplify, just to show you. And in this case, you say query blog post by display text, and you say text is string, and then you variables here you can say like text. It finds automatically which parameters it wants, and you can paste the text here, and that will still work. So now this query is parameterized by something, so you can reuse it or separate the query from the values you can send. Yep, that's the idea. That's super cool. Questions? Can we point it to another? Yeah, can you point it to another source? You can create your own GraphQL queries that will query whatever you want. For instance, this one, this blog post query, like any other type, is what we call the content item type query, or the content type query, I remember. But we have another one which is based on the Orchard, the queries module, SQL and Lucene queries, the named queries. So this is like another data source, another type of query. So yes, you can have as many data sources. You just have to explain how to convert this graph to the query you want. So there is one for all content items using content management, actually using the content item index and the SQL tables that are indexed also. And there is one type of queries that is based on the queries feature, the ones where you type Lucene and SQL directly in the admin. They are also exposed as queries here. So you could also have other sources, yes, based on other modules and features. Yeah, so that makes and we should finish, I assume, this week all the features we want to add. So what we need to add is to finalize this thing, this where we can add all the properties, and I'm just doing it right now. And then what we want to do, instead of having just that, we want to be able to say something like or, and have two values or n values, and you see and so on. So something like that to be able to express logical operators on the query. That's the next thing. But once we, yeah, it should not be hard to implement based on what we have and what we have already done. So we can think about creating a headless CMS demo. That would be nice. Other questions? Something also we could do with that, it's kind of meta, but because it's super nice to express queries and content, we could provide that as a query source to be able to query content items using this GraphQL syntax from the templates. So you will define a named query, okay, like today we use Lucene or SQL, but we could use GraphQL after all also, and then this will be a named query with parameters also. And then from the templates, we just call into this query. So maybe that will be easier than Lucene or than SQL to express content item queries. So today, if you want to load content items, SQL might be faster than Lucene, but it's harder than Lucene. Lucene is not easy either, but it's super nice for full text. Maybe GraphQL could just be another way to do that. So that's doable totally. Or we could even have it as a, yeah, I don't know. That's something we could do that would be super simple to do. And we can also expose, so that we also need to expose more properties with GraphQL. We could expose users or anything that is not a content item as custom queries. Workflows, for instance, are not content items and could be exposed also as queries. We have to see what we can do with that. We also need to integrate all the indexes that are available. And this way we'll be able to use taxonomies directly also in the queries when we test that, and implement indexes for all the other fields. So we can also filter based on the field values, which we can't do right now. We can do on part indexes because there are indexes for parts, but we don't have any index for the fields. So we just need to add one for each type. Good. I don't have any more demo. There was a demo on Thursday from Matthias for the admin tree. We reviewed that, and I will probably show it directly to Bertrand. But it's super nice, super useful. Yep, that's it. I will, when I'm done with GraphQL, which I want to finish and merge, I will go back to taxonomies. Any other topics, questions, demos?
You and I still, this is Himanshu, you and I still have to touch base on recipe migrations. I just haven't had time.
Recipe migration. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was super busy with GraphQL, and when I wanted, you were not there. Yep. When we are available, both of us, we can talk. Ping me again on Skype.
Will do. Thanks.
An announcement, maybe?
Oh, yes. Oh, my God. Yes, I forgot to ask you to make an announcement. Go on.
Yeah, so a few years ago, I started a project called Noisette Commerce, that is a commerce platform built on Orchard. And it's been fairly successful. It works pretty well and is feature complete and so on. We have a number of super valuable contributors working on the project. And we've been talking for a while about making a version that would run on Orchard Core. And last week we decided to actually start work on that. And we thought that the best way of doing that would be to actually make it a little more official and to change the name and just try to make it the commerce module for Orchard Core. So we created the project under the Orchard CMS organization. So you can see it on the screen here. It's called Orchard Core Commerce. And for the moment, we are just, planning features and seeing what we'll port first, what we'll design first. So we have a number of bugs in there where we are having some discussions about the design. So the idea is the following: we are going to make a clean implementation, a clean re-implementation of what we already have. So we already have a lot of code that exists and that we are going to port, but we are starting from a clean slate, so that we adhere to the new design principles of Orchard Core. In particular, there is one thing that we really want to do, which is to leverage workflows as much as possible, because when you're doing e-commerce, it's a well-known fact that every company does things a little differently, and you have lots of processes that need to be customized for each customer, and workflows are great for that. So we want to use that as much as possible. So an example would be, for example, your checkout process. So maybe you're selling digital goods, so the checkout process would be different, because what you actually need to do is to give immediate access to the goods to your customers as soon as they've paid. So that's a process that is significantly different from selling actual physical goods, where you need to have shipping and so on. So because we have all those different workflows that exist, basing those processes on workflows is going to be a lot more flexible than what we had before. So yeah, so if you're interested in implementing commerce on Orchard Core, we can use any form of contribution. The most basic form of contribution is just feedback and ideas, and that is great at this point. That's exactly what we're doing. And if you want to start contributing code, there is a whole bunch of code that exists, and it's actually a pretty nice exercise for somebody who's looking for first contributions on an open source project, because there is existing code that needs to be ported to Orchard Core. So yeah, there are lots of opportunities for contributions. So yeah, let us know if you'd like to participate, and we'll make sure we are welcoming and nice community. So yep, that's it.
Thank you. Should be great.
Yeah.
Lots of people are already asking for commerce stuff.
Yeah.
Good. Questions, comments? Okay, then that will be it for this week. Next one is Thursday for the triage. I'm not sure I will do a demo on Friday, but I assume next demo should be on headless CMS. The last one was on decoupled, so now it's time to do the headless one. Now we have GraphQL and some other APIs, and yeah, why not also reuse what we did for the SaaS, so we can create a new live headless tenants and then create sites from that, or maybe look into generating static sites or SPA application using that and OpenID. Should be good. Okay, thank you everyone. See you next week. Bye bye.